Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Morning.
Nice! As I look around the room, I see a number of faces that I recognize. But I also see people who weren't here 2 years ago. Pilot reps who are still new to their local council duties. I know from ALPA election results that there has been a large turnover in our officer ranks, in part from retirements, but also from pilots transitioning from regional to mainline carriers. And contrary to what you might think, working with different experience levels is actually a good thing. These differences broaden our collective thinking. They enable the board to approach policy decisions and strategic planning with fresh eyes. At the same time, they help us better understand the decisions and events that brought us to this point. But views are needed from all different angles. Think of it like this. It's easier to see some things from the right seat rather than the left seat, and vice versa. I'll talk more about what each of us brings to the table and how we can better work together this week. But first, I want to talk about ALPA's membership numbers, what some of our committees have been up to, and details about the upcoming EVP elections. So let's get started. ALPA truly is a large and diverse organization. To better understand who we are, let's take a moment to look at our membership numbers as of October 1st. Our union represents 54,716 pilots at 31 airlines in the United States and Canada. And it's worth noting that we have 46,544 active members, 5,040 apprentice or reactivated members, and unfortunately, but the number is going down, 370 members on furlough. We've grown since the last board of directors. We've added 3,879 total members and increased our airline groups by 2. The pilots of Virgin America voted for ALPA representation in June 2015. And I'd like to officially welcome the members from Frontier. Speaking of mergers, the Alaska Air Group recently acquired Virgin America. Meanwhile, the ExpressJet and Atlantic Southeast pilots continue to explore ways to merge their 2 pilot groups. For more information on our demographics, check out the landing in this month's Airline Pilot. It includes information like the most common aircraft we fly and the states and provinces with the greatest number of our members. Serving ALPA pilots is the Professional Development Group, which offers products and services to help our members at each stage of their careers. The PDG is an umbrella organization overseeing ALPA's membership, leadership, and education committees. Professional Development has a new chair, United First Officer Richard Swindell. Richard was the MEC chair at Air Wisconsin for many years and is a smart, energetic ALPA leader. Richard talks about what he hopes to accomplish with the PDG in the October issue of the Airline Pilot. He's a great guy, and I want to thank him for taking on this latest challenge. The membership committee certainly hasn't let grass grow under its feet. In the last 2 years, the committee has introduced the electronic membership card, saving our union tens of thousands of dollars in production and mailing costs. Updated ALPA's new hire materials, including a new trifold pamphlet to go in the welcome aboard packets that explains the products and services the union provides. Produced new material for the ALPA app, including ALPA 101 videos for the association's newer members. Worked with the Fee for Departure Committee to support job fairs and interview preparation conferences. and supported ALPA's membership seminars to help new volunteers better understand their jobs. All of this work is in addition to what the membership committee pilots do at each of our airlines every day to support our organization. Our membership chair, Yolanda Winfleet from United, and her group do an incredible job. Thanks, Yolanda, for everything that you do. Over the years, ALPA has adopted the slogan, "Pilots helping pilots," because it sums up the way we work. As members of ALPA's board of directors, you know from experience that as a new rep, you also need help. You need to know how ALPA supports you and the resources we offer. ALPA's leadership committee provides this direction, offering both initial and recurrent training to elected pilot leaders. Leadership training conferences are scheduled just prior to March 1st, when new local council reps take office. In recent years, we've held conference receptions at the Smithsonian's Udvar Hazy Center near Dulles Airport. These events are always well attended, and the pilots tell me it's great to have this facility at our disposal. The committee also offers specialized training sessions to meet the needs of your MEC. In addition, leadership has been working with ALPA's IT, SIMDAR, and communications departments to develop computer-based training modules. These are intended for pilot reps who get elected outside the regular election cycle. The first module should be available early next year. I want to thank Delta Captain David Farmer and his committee for the great job that they do. ALPA also works to provide a steady stream of future airline pilots through the Education Committee. Volunteers actively promote the profession and mentor students and others who aspire to be airline pilots. Our union has been providing this kind of support for more than 30 years. Working together with ALPA's SIMDAR department, the Education Committee has established 9 collegiate outreach programs that offer mentoring and professional development services. These schools include Central Washington, both campuses of Embry-Riddle, Lewis University, Parks College at St. Louis University, Purdue, Southern Illinois, the University of North Dakota, and Western Michigan. Committee members also visit primary and secondary schools and encourage students to learn more about aviation. Through all of these efforts, ALPA was able to make contact with 8,900 students in the United States and Canada during the last school year. That's a lot of ground to cover, but the committee is able to manage it because it has more than 1,600 volunteers. I also want to note that ALPA recently partnered with the ICAO's next generation of aviation professionals. Through education and membership, the association also participates in industry events with organizations like Women in Aviation International, the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, and the National Gay Pilots Association. We influence future pilot curriculum as a member of the Accreditation Board International and the University Aviation Association. In addition, we sponsor the National Intercollegiate Flying Association SafeCon each year. All of this support would not be possible if it weren't for the work of our education chair, United First Officer Mark Haley, and his army of pilot volunteers. Mark, thank you for your leadership and continued support. The PDG has 2 other new leaders, pilots recruited during this last year, who I'd like to recognize. Hawaiian First Officer Drew Everett, who serves as the coordinator for the Furloughed Pilot Support Group, and United First Officer David Pond, who chairs the Veteran Affairs Subcommittee. The Furloughed Pilot Support Group and the Veterans Affairs Subcommittee Both fall under membership. Drew and David, thank you for stepping up and getting involved. Staying connected and sharing information is another way ALPA remains engaged. The association has been updating its infrastructure to ensure that members have access to the information they need, when they need it, and in a secure manner. Amber, our system modernization project, has already delivered several key components, with more coming over the next few quarters. I chair the Information Technology Advisory Committee, which oversees this work. ITAC works closely with ALPA's IT and communications departments to offer tools that help us better communicate with our members. For example, ALPA debuted its new public website in May 2015, featuring an updated look, consolidated e-libraries, and a new search function. We released the updated members-only portion of the website this past May. And we're continuing to modernize MEC and committee pages. These new features are supported by Sitecore, which provides our organization with a platform that's responsive to smartphones. I mentioned the ALPA app for smartphones and tablets earlier. The association has been retooling this easy-to-use, easy-to-access resource from the ground up. I know that for some of us, the ALPA app is the primary way we keep up with what's happening with our union. Please take a few minutes to fill out the app survey, which you can find on the BOD app. This is your opportunity to tell us what you think. I also mentioned the electronic membership card. And by the way, plastic cards are still available for the members who request them. IT is also working on a new Ames email blast system called Realignment, which should be available later this fall. Realignment provides greater analytics and reporting features to tell us what our members find most interesting about our communications. As I noted earlier, ALPA is more than 54,000 strong. Our size helps us look out for each other when our members are confronted with unforeseen disasters. That's why we created the ALPA Emergency Relief Fund, or Pilots for Pilots, 11 years ago. The fund provides grants to help ALPA families recovering from hurricanes, wildfires, flooding, and other widespread disasters. Let's hear from one of our P4P officers, United First Officer Christine Gromack, about why supporting P4P is so important.
Hi, I'm Chris Gromack, Treasurer for the ALPA Emergency Relief Fund, or Pilots for Pilots. I'm one of the board members who answers the phone when an ALPA pilot needs help, like the ALPA captain whose house flooded while she was flying a trip. Her mother and daughter watched from inside as the surrounding water level from the torrential rains just kept getting higher and higher. Or the association member whose home experienced severe water damage after a devastating blizzard. More than 108 inches of snow fell, and as it melted, it began to enter the house through walls and ceiling. Or the 737 pilot whose home was damaged during a hurricane. He used his P4P grant to buy a generator to power a medical device for his elderly father. It's heart-wrenching to hear what these families go through and the sense of helplessness in their voices. Many have lost everything. You can't help but want to help them put their lives back in order. That's why Pilots for Pilots is so important. The fund has helped hundreds of ALPA families, but it needs your support, so please give generously. Your donated dollars mean so much to your fellow pilots. Remember, we're all just a disaster away from needing P4P.
So as you know, just recently, Hurricane Matthew hammered the East Coast. Communities like Lumberton, North Carolina, which is nearly 80 miles from the coast, remained underwater for days. Pilots from airlines, including Envoy, United, and Spirit, turn to P4P for assistance. We need to make sure that this ALPA resource remains available. The current P4P balance was $146,957.92 as of Friday. We raised much of this total during the last year's successful Give Me 5 campaign. The total may sound like a large amount, but don't be fooled. A couple of events can wipe it out. We've seen this happen in the past. For this reason, I'm asking each ALPA BOD member to donate $25 to P4P this week. It's simple. Just go online to alpa.org/relief fund and make a contribution. And here's a challenge. Let's see which pilot group can support this request with the highest participation rate. We'll identify that group in the magazine's coverage of the BOD. Now, every 2 years, when we get together, we make decisions about what kind of organization ALPA will be. Part of this decision-making involves electing representatives. As you all know, you'll be electing executive vice presidents on Wednesday. September 1st was the date to determine the distribution of EVP groups for the next 2 years. BOD roll call numbers are based on the voting membership as of September 30th. The new alignment, which will go into effect January 1st, is as follows. Group A, Delta, United, FedEx. Group B1, JetBlue, Envoy, Endeavor, Frontier, Hawaiian, Piedmont, and ATI. Group B2, ExpressJet, ASA, PSA, Virgin America, Compass, Sun Country, and Island Air. Group B3, Alaska, Spirit, Mesa, Air Wisconsin, Trans-States, and Commute Air. Group C, Air Transat, Bearskin, Calm Air, Canadian North, First Air, Kelowna Flightcraft, Jazz, and Wasaya. Now, I opened my presentation this morning by talking about how our different experience levels enable us to contribute to the greater good. We also come from different carriers and different segments of the industry. The point I want to make is that all of these differences make us stronger. They help us see the aviation industry as a whole and not just a segment that we fly in. However, if we aren't careful, these differences can also cripple us as an organization. They can distract us from thinking about what's good for our profession. As we make these decisions over the next 4 days, we need to think beyond what benefits our individual pilot groups and consider the entire group. That's really why we're here. At this 46th Board of Directors meeting, let's remember that we are powered by pilots, all of them, and not just some. As we process the work, let's think about how we can best serve all of our members. The many advantages we have today are thanks to the generation of ALPA pilots who came before us. We owe it to the next generation of members to continue the legacy. I thank each of you for taking an active role in this union, and I look forward to what I know will be a productive week. Thank you.